Twitter too, nice.
What is up, everybody? This is Nerding Out Sports with a preview episode on our upcoming Monday Night Football game against the Dallas Cowboys. Big rivalry here, and we've got a big crew to discuss the game tonight. We got Rob, my co-host. He survived the hurricane in Florida, which is very, very good news. Thank God he's made it.
It hasn't come yet. I survived the preparation.
The first wave. Okay. And then we've got the twins, who obviously this is now full house of the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. We've got Alex, we've got Luca. Alex of Big Blue in the Bronx. Big, giant channel. So let's get into it, guys. Anybody welcome your comments in the chat? That would be awesome. What have we got? Oh, the first chat right up at the bat. Tony Clark. What up, boys? Tony. What up, Tony? Thank you so much for checking in. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the first thoughts. We're going to pass it to Luca, then Alex, then Rob. First thoughts on the matchup.
All right, so I think in a way, some people, obviously it's kind of weird. Obviously, the Giants haven't been good in quite a bit. But some people have been saying this, and I kind of agree. I think this is kind of a trap game for the Giants. The Cowboys are 1-1. The Giants are 2-0. Obviously, it's not a big differential in terms of record or talent. But, this is kind of a big game for the Giants, especially where they are in the rebuild and where they are in the season. I'm not going to say, if they lose, it'll ruin the whole season. But I think if you win this game and once you take it seriously, I think it opens a lot of, streets for you guys to be actually competitive this year. And it would show it would give a lot of fans hope in what this organization and what this front office, what this coaching staff can do. You finally beat the Cowboys. And when was the last time you beat them? 2 years ago. So, and I honestly don't take 2020, for a lot, but you know what? This is like the Giants' chance to make kind of a statement win. That's how I see it.
Right on. Alex.
Yeah, the New York Giants are probably facing the best defense they've faced this week. Micah Parsons is going to be talked about so much on this podcast, I feel. He is the ultimate X factor for the Dallas Cowboys defense. He is the guy I'm ultimately scared of now. In the games he's played the Giants, he really hasn't had much impact. He's been dealing with an illness. I mean, he's probably going to play. It looks as if Tibbs is coming back. Aziz is definitely coming back. He did say that in one of the press conferences. As Lucas said, it's a trap game for the Giants. And is the season over if we end up losing? No. Just more stuff to learn from. We could definitely win against the Bears, be competitive against the Packers. Obviously, we weren't really supposed to win the first two games. I had us going 1-1. Maybe others had us going 0-2 or 2-0. But, we stayed competitive. We stayed true to the first two games, however we won them. And now is going to be one of the biggest tests on prime time. I know Donald, myself, and Luca will definitely be doing the game. Me and at least maybe Donald will take part in it as well. The whiteout. I'm definitely wearing all white on, even though we're not in the stadium, I'm going to wear all white on Monday. So it's going to be a fun game. It's fun to finally see the coaches and the players reaching out to the fan base and saying, look, you know what? We're going to have you guys into this too. We're going to do a whiteout. And I'll be definitely, waving my my towel that I got last year at Michael Strahan Day. So you know what? It's going to be a real fun game, but there's going to be a lot of obstacles for the Giants in order to win this game.
Well, Rob is already sporting a whiteout right here with his hat. Rob, what are your first thoughts on the upcoming matchup, my man?
I think Luca said it really, really well earlier, because if we win this game, and it gives fans a lot of reason to be like, we can actually start off potentially 4-0, because if we beat Dallas and then we can maybe beat Chicago, our schedule is pretty, I don't want to call it too soft, but it's kind of favorable to have a really good record for a team that's rebuilding, because we got teams like the Texans and the Lions who aren't terrible this year, but they're a beatable team. Washington's always beatable. I feel like every division game is winnable, but it's kind of a soft-ish schedule that we can maybe eke out a few wins that we normally wouldn't. So if we can beat Dallas, the confidence for this team is going to go through the roof, and us as fans are going to have reason to believe that we're a little bit ahead of where we thought we may have been in terms of this rebuild. Now, I'm not going to jump the gun and be like, oh, we're going to go win the Super Bowl or we're going to go make this incredible run, but it's certainly nice to have this early in the season saying, man, the Giants look a lot better than I expected. And I have reason to be optimistic. So it's been a long time since we could say that. And I like the feeling that we got. And this, even though Dak's not playing, any division game's a big one because this NFC East is never a guarantee. Philly looks like the team on paper, but they could always hit a wall at some point. You never know what's going to happen. This division is still wide open. Any division win matters in a big way.
So, just to further your point here, man, the next 7 games, so that would complete the first half of the year, would be the Bears, the Packers, the Ravens, the Jags, the Seahawks, the Texans, and the Lions. I mean, like, there's not really any terrifying matchup right there apart from the Ravens.
I think I saw something before the year. I don't mean to interrupt. But I think the Giants are like bottom 5 in percentage, like winning percentage of schedule faced. Like there's a lot of bottom tier teams. Obviously, the Giants finished last year, and they could obviously take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you go through the next 7 games, I would say obviously the Packers and the Ravens were seriously underdogs for. But again, the Packers are beatable because they don't really have any receivers. And then the Ravens, they're run dominated, and that's actually one of our strengths. Same with Packers. So again, they're not the worst matchups for us. Obviously, we're jumping the gun a little bit, but just further the point, if we can take one of the next 2 games, I think we feel pretty darn good about where we are right now. Okay, we've got Tony Clark, another comment here we've got here. Been watching a lot of fantasy content, and there seems to be a lot of hate towards Kadarius Toney. I don't follow the Giants too much, so what's up with that? Well, I'm a fantasy aficionado. I guess the fantasy hate towards Kadarius Toney is purely because he's not being utilized. He's not a big part of the offense right now. It's been inconsistent usage at the moment. They're kind of using him as kind of a utility role, kind of in the backfield, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And nothing really consistent, not consistent targets for him either. That's why. But Giants fans love Kadarius Toney. Don't think the Giants coaching staff are that enamored, but I'm hoping that they will be because he's potentially our biggest threat at receiver. But yeah, thanks so much for the comment. Any other questions, just fire them across. So, okay, let's get started with the next topic. Keys to the game. Alex, you've got a big list of keys to the game. Let's hear some.
I do. This is coming right from my podcast I just recorded, but they're all good either way. Number one, arguably, shots to MH. What's going on, man? It's going to be neutralizing or limiting Micah Parsons. He's going to be playing edge. I talked with a Cowboys writer about that. They're using him more on the edge. The Cowboys are going to try to really, make teams think that he's going to be a linebacker, but really on third down, he's going to be rushing the passer from either Thomas's side, Evan Neal's side, maybe throughout the middle. I'm not too concerned with Andrew Thomas. Obviously, he's one of the best tackles in the NFL, maybe the best left tackle in the NFL because it's the hardest spot to play in on the offensive line, or at least one of them. But in terms of Evan Neal, you're going to need chips from running backs. You're going to need chips from tight ends. It's going to be hard for Evan Neal. And I know that, he's going to get a fair share of 2 different guys in DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. Whether that involves running the football, chipping guys, chipping Micah Parsons, that's going to be number one in terms of the key to the game. Number 2 is take advantage of the bad cornerback play. Donald was just talking about Kadarius Toney, and so was Tony himself, a weird Tony reference. But anyway, Tony tore them up last year.
Kadarius Tony Clark.
Yes, Kadarius Tony Clark. I like that. 189 yards last year on like 10 or 11 receptions. Whether you argue with garbage time, whether it was, a good quarterback, whatever, he tore them up last year. Trayvon Diggs, had no ground on him. And even though a lot of people will say, whatever about Trayvon Diggs' last year's season, the statistics aren't good for the cornerbacks on the Cowboys right now. Both have given up, meaning Anthony Brown and Trayvon Diggs, both have given up about 100 passer rating plus. So the Giants need to take advantage of that. And in my personal opinion, it's not going to be guys that David Sills or Richie James do the job. It's got to be Kadarius Toney. In my opinion, he is the X factor for the Giants on offense. And if they don't get him involved in a proper way, I think the Giants have to, fight this with the defense. And they've been doing that for 3 games already. And then number 3 is stop the run. I'm usually a guy that's like, okay, you got to stop the pass and do all that stuff. I'm a new-minded football guy. But yes, MH kind of going to my point here. Defense going to have a test in slowing down Zeke.
See, the thing is, I thought sorry to interrupt, Alex. I thought that, I just looked up the stats from last week. The Bengals defense was beating themselves a lot, and Zeke only rushed for 53 yards. So I don't think, in my mind, that's a bigger concern as to stopping CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup with your other corners, or even the tight ends like Dalton Schultz or Noah Brown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason I say stop the run, though, is you are right with all of those stats. I mean, what was I going to say? The Dallas Cowboys rank 22nd in terms of run percentage. That's obviously the frequency of how much they run the football. They're 11th in terms of pass percentage, which is a little bit more surprising, knowing that Cooper Rush is the quarterback, but stopping the run. Leo is not going to be on the field. And if you've guys seen the big run by McCaffrey and the big run by Derrick Henry, Leo and Dexter Lawrence were not on the field for those runs. So Jihad Ward is probably going to be playing a little interior, and they're probably going to need some extra linebacker help as well to seal those gaps. So making them one-dimensional, in my opinion, this game is going to be very, very important as the third key to the game. And, if you do seal off Tony Pollard and if you do seal off Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, that's just going to mean wonders so we could get more pressure on the quarterback with Kayvon and Aziz coming back.
So some big keys there from Alex. So obviously somehow stopping Micah Parsons, finding ways to maybe possibly chip him, KT, and the running game. Rob, what are your thoughts, my man?
It's got to be what Kayvon and Aziz are able to do off the edge. In terms of the defensive keys, if we can get Cooper Rush uncomfortable, I feel like we can stop the run game to a degree because they still have 2 guys that have beaten us a lot in the past, even with good run defenses. But if we're able to generate more pressure than we have been able to, Dallas's offensive line is not as strong as it once was. Obviously, with their left tackle being hurt. So if you're able to generate pressure and make Cooper Rush feel very uncomfortable back there, and we've been able to bring some pressure without these 2 guys. So maybe, we use more O'Shane and we use guys like Tamon Fox, and obviously it's going to be based around what Aziz and KT are able to bring you in whatever snaps they play. But if you're bringing pressure and you're dialing it up with the wink blitzes that they always do, we're going to be able to stop them on more, hopefully get to the 3rd and longs and get off the field quickly. That's going to be the key, because when Dak is in there, they can just torch us left and right, even with pressure. Dak's able to beat up on our defense. But with Cooper Rush, maybe he's not as refined as Dak Prescott. Let's be honest here. Cooper Rush is a big difference between the 2 of them. You got to take advantage of the quarterback not being there for Dallas. You got to take advantage of Dak not being there. And defensively, it's going to be bringing pressure, because I don't want to see our cornerback 2, whoever it's going to be on Monday night, getting torched by one of these Dallas receivers. And they got a good group of them, and it could even be a guy like Pollard coming out of the backfield, or Zeke, and just torching these guys. So it's going to be very important to bring the pressure. And offensively, it's Kadarius Toney and Saquon Barkley. It's going to be the same case pretty much every week. Is how does Saquon do? Do they stack the box against him like Carolina did? They'll probably see a lot of that. And obviously, we're going to see Daniel Jones is going to have to take advantage of those corners. They're giving up 100 passer rating, both of them. Can Daniel Jones have a more than game manager game? Let's hope so. But you got to utilize Kadarius Toney. He is too damn good to be used in only running the ball scenarios. You got to get him the ball down the field, and let him use his skill set. But he was also on the injury report for this practice coming up, right? Or was that just a walkthrough I saw earlier?
It was a walkthrough. I mean, he was limited. Then they said it was a walkthrough today, but it was counted as a did not practice. I think he's going to play. If not, I mean, I'm going to be scared.
Ryan Dunleavy, Kadarius Toney downgraded on injury report and Giant Twist. Shifty receiver Kadarius Toney is great at changing directions, but it's not a good sign that he's headed backwards on the Giant injury report. Toney hamstring was downgraded from a limited participant in practice to not practicing Friday, 3 days prior to the game. Because the Giants only held a walkthrough practice participation in an estimate, which makes all the more unusual to see a change in status, especially considering Tony first injured his hamstring in mid-August. My God, is still a hamstring issue? Okay, well, that's not great. This thing is, his hamstring has been kind of bothering him for a long, long time, not just prior to August. Okay, so we've got a couple more comments here. MH, what are you saying to us, brother? It's safe to say, guys, Jones likes throwing to his tight ends. He always threw to Ingram with all his drops. Maybe he can get some chemistry with Bellinger. Very important to get some chemistry with Bellinger. He did hit Bellinger with obviously a big touchdown in week 2. He's obviously showing. Then obviously had the touchdown to the other tight end, our third tight end,
Myrick.
Myrick. Yeah, so he's kind of mixing in with the tight ends already. So yeah, you're spot on, MH. He loves his tight ends. It's an important part of our offense. Tony Clark looking like Schultz will be out of the game as well. That's good news. Schultz is a monster tight end.
Let me also say before Donald turns to me, they have a rookie named Jake Ferguson. He was in that barrage of tight ends that were drafted this year. Very highly touted. Just going to point that out there.
Spot on. Okay, look up. What are your keys to the game?
Yeah, I'm actually going to piggyback off Rob here. Not that he stole what I meant to say, but he brought out a good point. I think Daniel Jones cannot have a game manager type of game this week. It's just not going to be good enough. I think obviously I mentioned this on Boys in the Big Apple, and I think I'm going to mention this again. It's the mental processing that Daniel Jones struggles with. I think Dan Quinn's going to throw a lot of confusing looks at Jones, maybe some blitzes, maybe some zone coverage in which Jones cannot find the open receiver. There were times last week where he was just sitting in the pocket like a dead duck and getting sacked. I mean, I'm just being truthful here from what I saw, and these were all zone looks. Like Jones has to mobilize himself and step out of the pocket. If my read is not if I feel pressure coming and my read is closed here, I got to move out of the pocket and make a play for myself. He has to become that playmaker. As Alex said, you got to utilize Kadarius Toney. Unfortunately, he might not even play. Get Kenny Galladay involved. Obviously he's complaining about his playing time, but that's his own discussion. Utilize speed. Saquon out of the backfield. Saquon is a receiver, not Breida is a receiver. Tight ends, David Sills, whoever. Speed. And you guys think that they might activate Darius Slayton this week? And I'm going to pose a question. I'm going to pose an answer as to why I'm asking.
Wandale's injured, so they're going to activate him.
Okay. They got to take the handcuffs off Daniel Jones. I'm not saying he played great the last 2 weeks to finally, to take off the handcuffs, but everything I've seen from this point on, except the deep pass to Sterling Shepard, has been all intermediate stuff. Okay, we'll have our 5-yard passes, 15, 10 yards, because the zone defense that the opponent is playing. They're not going to they're going to try to limit Daniel Jones as much as possible. Go deep, as Alex said, take advantage of the cornerbacks. 100-plus passer rating allowed. Go after them. Take them deep. Get Darius Slayton involved. Get Kenny Galladay involved. Sideline throws, stuff like that. Take the handcuffs off them. Properly evaluate them. And get some tight end help for pass protection when it comes to your right tackle. And also, I think the interior line play is very critical as well.
All very salient points. To piggyback on the quarterback discussion, I completely agree. I think it's going to be a battle of the quarterbacks. Who's going to stand out the most is going to win the game. Regarding taking the shackles off Daniel Jones, I also think that Daniel Jones has chosen the safe option a ton of times. I think the plays are there. I think the plays are there to be made, but he always checks down to the safest option because he doesn't look off his first read, and frankly, I don't know if he necessarily trusts the receivers to get open or himself to find them. I think there's an element of confidence in that too. I don't think it's just that the offense play calling has been limiting him. I think they have had some aggressive play calls, but Daniel Jones has just checked down to the safe option a ton of times. Just look at Sterling Shepard. How many catches did he make for like very minimal yardage in week 2? It was crazy. It was
Wasn't like 6 receptions in like 36 yards. That would be like 6 yards a reception.
He was basically
I just want to add on. I think I think Sterling Shepard to Daniel Jones is like what Jamison Crowder was to Sam Darnold in a way, just like that easy check down option where he's going to get like 14 receptions, but only like 99 yards. But again, continue, Donald.
No, I think there's an element of that. Also in week 2, I don't think Daniel Jones would get away with what he got away with in week 2 against the Cowboys.
No.
So, for instance, running into a sack against the Panthers, he got away with largely. It was still not good, but he kind of got away with it because they're not the greatest defense in the world. Against Micah Parsons, he's going to take that ball right off him and score. That's just these kind of things are going to happen, or he's going to get hurt, and you don't want any of that. So, also, he did miss a ton of open guys. He needs to see the field better. I think that's the key is definitely Daniel Jones. For me, the key is Daniel Jones. His record in primetime is garbage, to say the least. I think he's on no wins. Am I right?
7 or 0-8.
Yeah, so he's winless in primetime. He really struggles in primetime. So he needs to step up. And on the other side, Cooper Rush, he's proven to be a very solid backup. And if he can get that ball quickly to CeeDee Lamb, then they could do some damage. But I also really like the matchup with Adoree Jackson and CeeDee Lamb. So they're, with Cooper gone, who are they going to rely on as their second wide receiver? Gallup, maybe. Nothing that really blows me away. So they're a little bit weaker now, but they're still fairly strong. Tony Pollard is probably the X factor for me on offense. That change of pace that he offers. Zeke can be the power dude, and then Pollard can just power through with his speed. That's a little bit of a scary combo. So those are the keys for me. Stopping Pollard, making sure that CeeDee Lamb is neutralized, and who's going to win the matchup between the quarterbacks. Okay, so those are the keys to the game, guys. So we touched on it before. Who are the main guys to stop for the Cowboys? We're going to start with Rob, the co-host.
Oh, man. Well, defensively, it's Parsons. You got to stop. You got to make sure you're not letting Parsons wreak havoc in the backfield. Because if, like you mentioned, if Daniel Jones gets hit by him or Lawrence, it's probably a fumble because these guys hit very, very hard, and Daniel Jones has butterfingers when it comes to holding on to the ball. So if he's getting walloped like that, he's probably going to turn the ball over a few times. Mm-hmm. So Evan Neal, or if it's Andrew Thomas, whoever has got the assignment of their two main edge rushers, pass rushers in general, let's hope they can keep them out of the backfield and allow Daniel Jones to throw. And that's defensively, that's really the main thing is not allowing the pressure to get there and allow Daniel Jones to have a clean pocket and make sure Saquon has some lanes to run. Offensively, you got to make sure CeeDee Lamb is neutralized, stop the run game. We know who they have. But what is that one guy, Brown, that was going off for them the first couple of games? Noah Brown. So you got to keep an eye on him because who's our cornerback too? We saw Flott get toasted a few times last week. I don't know if Darnay Holmes can play on the outside. And we know that McKinney and Love have been playing in the box a lot, pretty much the entire game last week. So it's going to be interesting to see who's that cornerback too for us this week. If it's Flott again, maybe they try somebody else. Maybe they put Love over there and have a guy like Belton play in the box a little bit, but he's been playing some safety. So it'd be interesting to see who's on Brown. But, the keys on the stopping the offense, stop CeeDee Lamb, stop Zeke, stop Pollard.
And Luka.
Let me ask this. Is Aaron Robinson supposed to play this week, or is he going to be out for like another few weeks?
He's still out.
How long Oh, that sucks. Is there any timetable? I'm just curious. I'll get to my point.
Maybe next week. Maybe the week after.
This is quite a risk. Would you guys consider doubling CeeDee Lamb? like putting a safety and Adoree Jackson on him, or do you have confidence in Adoree Jackson that you can essentially say, okay, we'll take this matchup one-on-one? And who is going to be your coverage linebacker when it comes to guarding the tight ends like Dalton? Well, Schultz is actually kind of supposed to miss this week, so it's going to be Jake Ferguson ultimately, who's covering the guys out of the backfield. I think that's one of the more important things that,
Jalen Smith, perhaps?
Is he a coverage linebacker or is he a tackling linebacker? I honestly wouldn't know. So I think that's a mystery for the Giants to kind of answer. Obviously McKinney was in the box a lot. Maybe he could do some coverage. So I think what Rob said when it comes to the running backs and the tight ends, obviously CeeDee Lamb, I think Adoree Jackson's going to be fine. He's a man corner. It's not like he's facing Bradbury from last year where he absolutely got toasted. So you have that. Micah Parsons, I think, is the biggest, obviously the biggest piece on defense you guys got to worry about. And who's going to stop him is the question. Are you going to double him with a tight end and a right tackle? Or are you going to have a running back in there? So it's a lot of things to keep an eye on.
I'll pass that question to the panel. Who do you think will be charged with being a coverage linebacker?
I think McKinney will be on the running backs. So I think it might be Julian Love if he's in the box again. I really don't know what they're going to do, I guess, until we see what they line up with Monday night. But it worked pretty well last Sunday, what they did with Love and McKinney. So maybe Love gets the tight ends and McKinney gets the running backs out of the backfield.
Love is 5'11", though. That's something you have to consider. And just to throw this out there, because I obviously watched him in Notre Dame, you think they would sometime shift Love to corner for like a certain amount of snaps?
I think they're too, in my opinion, I think they're too good with it. They're too satisfied with him at safety.
That's fine.
Because of what he does inside the box. To take on your question, it could be very well, and, Rob presented some good points with Julian Love possibly on the tight ends. I think it might actually be the linebackers. Last week, no tight end really posed a threat to the Giants. Steven Sullivan had a catch, and who was covering him? Austin Calitro. So that kind of it shivers me a little bit. It gives me the shivers that one of those guys might cover. But it could be Love. It could also be McKinney that covers the running backs, as mentioned. But my main worry is going to be whoever's coming out of that slot. I think it's going to be CD, and I don't have trust in Darnay Holmes. Still a couple of penalties. He's way too grabby.
Yeah, that is an ugly matchup. If CeeDee Lamb matches up against Holmes, Holmes always gets beat.
Their slot receiver, by the way, is Noah Brown. I thought he was a tight end originally, but I'm wrong.
So, he doesn't really scare me on Julie. But it depends on where they line up CeeDee Lamb. And I'm sure they're going to find creative ways of doing it. They're no joke in offensive play calling. They're going to find creative ways to get the ball to CD. I don't have any question about that. So it really depends on our pass rush, getting the Cooper rush, making him uncomfortable. I think Jalen Smith was signed for a reason when they did. First of all, he's going to be better than what we already have. Second of all, he signed prior to the Cowboys matchup. He knows the Cowboys pretty well. I think he'll be there to possibly be a coverage guy or be a tackling linebacker, whatever. But I think he's going to have a more prominent role than we think. One thing we do know about Wink Martindale is week to week, he makes adjustments depending on the game plan, depending on who the opposition is. He will have a game plan in mind that might even be different than what we saw in week 2 or week 1. This is how Wink Martindale rolls. So I have no doubt that at the moment he's scheming something for the Cowboys that they aren't even preparing for. I'm that confident in Wink. I think Wink is a very, very special defensive coordinator. Alex, you've got the injury report. Why don't we have a quick skim of the injury report if you got it real quick?
Yeah, so for the Giants, I see them possibly calling up Moreau again as a corner. Or one of the other guys from a practice squad. It's going to be quite interesting because on the injury report, they have, as of right now, and I'm making projections, of course, because they still have the practice tomorrow. As of right now, you have 3 cornerbacks that are probably going to be out. Nick McLeod, Aaron Robinson, and Justin Lane. And they did not practice on Thursday. They put it down as not practicing during the walkthrough. So that's going to be very scary, not just in terms of depth, but also special teams. Pinnock is limited, so I think he'll play. Wan'Dale Robinson did not practice with the knee. He's probably going to be out. Knee injury for Leonard Williams. He's out. It's pretty obvious. Dane Belton limited. I think he's going to play. Same thing with Feliciano. Aziz and Thibodeau probably going to play. Pinnock with the shoulder injuries limited, and then Kadarius Toney not going to actually didn't practice walkthrough stuff. I think he's going to play.
Do you think so?
Yeah, this hamstring thing is. There's a fun fact out there, and it's not necessarily too fun. But when he's not on the injury report, I think it's like 60 or 70% of the time he leaves the game with an injury. So quite
That's
the
an
fun
odd
fact
stat.
there.
That's an odd stat.
Yeah, so I guess it's better that he's on the injury report. But for the Dallas Cowboys, Trayvon Diggs, personal stuff, full practice on Friday. Michael Gallup, full practice. He's going to play. Jaron Kearse did not practice, so he's probably going to be out. Connor McGovern, one of their interior offensive linemen who played really well last year, he's not going to play, did not practice. Michael Parsons did not practice. Illness, he'll probably still play. Dalton Schultz is not going to play, did not practice, knee injury. Right thumb injury for Dak, he's not going to play. And Quinton Bohanna limited in practice. I mean, he's going to play, but there's nobody knows who that is. So
I think, thanks very much, man. But certainly that article, the New York Post article about how he was downgraded even though it was a walkthrough is probably not a great sign. I'm not as confident as you are that he's going to be making it. But even if he does, I think he'll be quite limited. This hamstring thing has been bothering him for a while. As for LW, that is a key loss because he is so important to stopping the run. Who will be playing in his spot?
I mean, you'll have a rotation probably of Nick Williams, DJ Davidson, Justin Ellis. But honestly, Jihad Ward and like Jalen Smith at a linebacker might be a better matchup because, as I mentioned earlier, the two biggest runs the Giants have allowed all season, Dexter Lawrence wasn't down. So Dexter Lawrence is not playing 100% of the snaps. He's a big dude. Even though the offense will be on the field for a substantial amount of time, he's going to need his rest in between snaps. And the Giants don't need to be giving up 30-yard run plays when he's out of the game. So Jihad Ward probably in there, and then a rotation of all the defensive linemen we have.
I wonder if we'll see a little Quincy Roche this week.
I personally don't think so. Because of Tibbs and Aziz coming back, and they also didn't really bring him back last week. In terms of defensive linemen that could come up from the practice squad, I only count two, Ryder Anderson and Henry Mondo, but that's very unlikely. So I think they're still going to stick to corners, calling them up because of three corners being out, and then, see where they go in terms of the rotations at linebacker and defensive line.
Okay, so good news. Looks like we're getting the first look at Thibodeau, and then, of course, Ojulari on the other side. Very excited to see Thibodeau. Rob, what are you thinking? How are they going to impact our defense against the Cowboys?
Well, I don't want to put too much expectation on them because they are coming back from injury, and you would expect them to have limited snaps. Now, if they're a full go going into Monday night, then they'll be starting, but you'll still probably see them come off the field more often than not, just to be more safe than sorry. But we know what Aziz can do. We know what Aziz is about. To me, he's a legit good pass rusher. It's the best one we've had in a while. And we're expecting Kayvon to at least be able to do what Aziz did last year, maybe even exceed that. So it's going to be very fun to see what they bring to the table, especially in a blitz-heavy offense. These guys are so perfect for Wink Martindale's defense. It's not even funny. And I think with a weaker offensive line in Dallas that we've had to face over the last few years, they've always had a good line. Now it's a little bit weaker. It's still not terrible, but it's vulnerable. And we're going to be dialing up the pressure, and I really want to see at least once. I just want to see the both of them, even if they have to combine for a sack. I just want the both of them to just converge on Cooper Rush and just lay into him. And if they have to force a fumble, do something, give this crowd something to go nuts about early on, if whenever it may happen, but we want this crowd to erupt because of something Kayvon and Aziz are doing. That'd be a pretty cool thing to see. So I want to keep my expectations limited, but I also want to. There's another side of me that's like, no, let them go out and get, 4 combined sacks or something crazy like that. But I want to be sure. I want to be realistic here. Just make our defense better than it already is, and I think they will.
Luca, what are you thinking, man?
I think they're going to be a little slow to start the game because obviously they haven't played in a couple of weeks. Thibodeau obviously hurt, his injury against the Bengals in the preseason. I think it'll be a slow start, but I think as the game gets on, like second, third quarter, you're going to see a lot of them. And I think they're going to really start to make their impact around the fourth quarter when it becomes pivotal.
And Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it's going to be a slower start for Thibodeau. Aziz has already experienced, how many games in the NFL, a full season. Thibodeau is still growing into the NFL. He really, you think about it, and, Terrence Steele is not necessarily top-tier NFL talent, but he's starting talent. He hasn't faced top-tier offensive lines. Like going back to that Patriots game, it was the second squad right tackle and second squad left tackle. Same thing could be said for the Bengals game. So I think he's going to definitely struggle. I think there may be 1 or 2 quarterback hits. I am expecting some plays. I don't expect any sacks, but if I were to expect like who plays better out of the 2 of them, I think it's definitely going to be Aziz.
Right. Well, how about we get into some predictions for the stat lines? So let's see. Predictions for Daniel Jones. Just passing yardage.
Okay.
We're going to start with Luca.
I'm going to go 210 yards.
Okay. Alex?
I'm going to go 233.
And Rob?
Was I kind of spot on last week? You got my predictions from last week on there because I'm pretty sure I guessed like 175 and he had 176. But
yeah, I need to get that. I need to find it. I'm just looking for it right now. But yeah,
I'm gonna say I think he gets a little bit more this week. I think they'll attack that secondary a little bit. So I'm gonna go 227.
227. Okay. And me, I'm going 197. Okay. And turnovers. How many? Rob.
How many turnovers would Daniel Jones have, or will we have as an offense?
As an offense.
I mean, it's Dallas. They always seem to come away with at least 1. So I'm going to keep it at that number. I'll go with 1.
Alex.
I'm going to piggyback Rob and say 1.
I'm going to say 2. Luca?
2.
Yep. Okay. Number of sacks as a team for the Giants.
Three.
Alex?
Damn, man. I'm going to go with 2.
And Luca?
5.
Holy moly.
Hope he's right.
Love it.
I think, especially with the state of the Dallas offensive line and the Giants pass rushers coming back, I know I said I would temper their expectations. I said they were going to get really going in the fourth quarter. I think Wink's going to dial up a lot of blitzing. They're going to really, surround Cooper Rush with a lot of Giants defenders. He's going to try his absolute hardest to have one-on-one coverage, tight coverage on the outside with CeeDee Lamb and Adoree Jackson, maybe even double at times. That's my prediction, and then just let everybody go free.
I certainly think that Thibodeau is going to get 1. I think Ximenez will get 1. I think Dexter will possibly either share a sack or get a full one. I'm edging towards 3 or 4. So, because Rob's already said 3, I'm going to go 4. I like it. Okay. Which Giant's going to score the first touchdown? Rob.
Last week I said it was going to be Galladay, and the man saw 2 snaps. So,
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good one. Alex?
I'm going to be absolutely bizarre. You ready for this one? Tanner Hudson.
I can see that.
I throw to him a lot in Madden, so hopefully they follow that. Can you get that one right? I'll take a touchdown any way I can get it.
It's not crazy. Look at
If it's passing or rushing touchdown, I'm just going to go Saquon Barkley personally.
It is a good idea, Donald. You keep these predictions with us while we're on stream so we can see who's right on everything.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So Saquon. Now, I'm pretty confident it won't be a receiver just because we don't really utilize our wide receivers these days. So I'm edging towards tight end or running back.
Or even a QB sneak. Or option run.
But Daniel Jones, yeah, it's possible.
He might pull off what he did in Dallas last year. Might do something really stupid.
That was that naked boot was his fault. Rudolph wasn't blocking.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go tight end. I'm going to go Clay Bellinger.
Just say
Daniel
Clay
Bellinger.
Bellinger?
Daniel Bellinger. Clay Bellinger. Daniel Bellinger.
He's got baseball in the mind.
Yeah. So I'm going to go tight end with Daniel Bellinger. Okay, so that's good. It's our first touchdown. Okay. Now the next one, Saquon Barkley. How many yards is Saquon going to have? Luca?
All right, so I'm going to use previous statistics on this one, not like to help my prediction out a little bit. So I'm going to go into see how they did week 2 against Joe Mixon. Obviously, I think they ran on the ball a little more than the Giants did last week. And then that will help me with my prediction. Mixon ran for 57. I'm going to go 65 yards for Saquon.
Oh, good. That's good analysis there, Alex.
Before I go into it, Luca, no bets. Okay? No
I
bets.
said I wasn't going to do any prop bets for a while. I'm only doing line betting.
Okay. I'm gonna
I could bet on Saquon. Here's the thing. I could help you guys, and I could say whatever Saquon's number is. Let's just say 76 for purpose's sake. I could be like under 76 yards, and then he get like 130.
Yeah, no. Our luck could be you'd get it on point. I'm gonna say, let's go 60 rushing yards. And then some odd like 50 receiving yards.
I mean, just saying.
Okay, so we've got a mixture there. Okay, so what's your total yardage? Sorry,
my total yardage would be 130.
Boom, Rob.
Total, I'm gonna say 115. I think he's gonna get a lot on the ground. He might get a few receiving, but I think they're gonna do the damage on the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 105. I think he's going to go over 100 too. Okay, and that will lead us to score predictions. We'll start with Rob.
Put me on the spot here. All right. Well, we'll never, despite how many times they've beaten us, I will never, ever, ever predict the Cowboys to beat us. So I'm going to say the Giants win 24-23. I think we went on a last-second field goal.
Oh, me and Donald would go off if that was the case.
It would be mayhem. And then we'll probably be doing a stream and they'll probably pour water over my head.
Alex would probably grab a drink for a toast.
Well, yeah, that's a Monday tradition. Alex, are we going to have a Victory Monday? Victory Tuesday?
Say we're going to get a little disappointed. 2016 Cowboys.
$20-16. So just one touchdown, like what, 4 field goals for us,
It's
or 3
possible.
field goals? Yeah, that's
Or 2
not
touchdowns
great.
and a safety.
Possibly. Look at.
22-19 Giants.
Oh my God, I had you pegged as the Cowboys. 22-19 Cowboys.
You mean Giants?
He said I was spot down for the Cowboys. I said I think the Giants are going to come out victorious.
Yeah, that's
Alex
pretty
wasn't
cool.
the
All right, 22-19 Giants. I like it. Okay, Cowboys for me, I think. 24-20 probably. But I still think that we're going to finish 3-1. I think we're going to beat Chicago, and I'll still be pretty happy. But yeah, okay, that's our score predictions. Alex, have you got some notes for the game?
Yes,
Any
but
other-
real quickly, I do have something. So I'm in a group chat with a former co-host of mine and Luca, and Luca said if the Giants go 3-0, he's going to hide for a while. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go into hiding, especially if my team loses this weekend. If my team wins this weekend, I will not go into hiding.
we don't
some
want
notes,
that.
some notes on the game. Well, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of it. Neutralizing Micah Parsons, getting Sterling Shepard to Kadarius Toney in the quick game going. Saquon Barkley out of the backfield as a pass catcher. I mean, he caught 91 passes his rookie year against Dallas. Well, not against Dallas. 91 catches in one game. That would be hell. But 91 catches in his rookie year, and he got a lot of attention in that Week 2 game against Dallas's rookie year. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. I mean, Julian Love was, utilized heavily last game. It's going to be someone different this game. I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm excited to find out.
And so me and Rob, we had our predictions from last week, our game predictions. Should we go through them quickly? Rob, Steelers and Patriots, we both had the Steelers. So
Welcome to the Matt Canada offense.
not a great start. Giants, Panthers, we both had the Giants winning, so that's good. So I guess we were gonna win there. Okay. Browns, Jets, we both had the Browns. So good job, Jets. This is not good for us though. Another loss. Jags, Colts, we both had the Colts. So
It's not looking good.
not looking good at all. Ravens, Miami. I had Miami. Rob had the Ravens. So is that a X for me? Correct for me? Loss for Rob. Saints, Bucks. Rob, we both had the Bucks.
Got something right at least.
Mm-hmm. Lions, Commandos. I had the Commandos. Rob, you had the Lions.
Good job, Rob.
It's a comeback
Good job,
trail.
Rob.
We're on the comeback here.
49ers, Seahawks. I had a huge mistake because I changed it midway through because I didn't want to be exactly the same as you, so I changed it to the Seahawks. You stuck with the 49ers. So Rob's definitely come back. I think he's now tied with me now.
Look at that. The comeback boys. Boy.
Mm-hmm. Rams, Falcons, we both had the Rams. Raiders, Cards, we both had the Raiders. Broncos, Texans, we both had Denver. Cowboys, Cincy, we both had the Bengals. Packs, Bears, we both had Green Bay.
I'd like to thank the Packers for fulfilling my bet last week. And you guys are going to help me pick my line this week, which line I'm betting.
Bills, Titans, we both had the Bills. Eagles, Vikings. Rob had the Eagles. I had the Vikings. I think that Rob wins the week.
Congratulations, Rob.
Last minute comeback. Okay, so we had the score predictions as well for the Giant Panther game. Luca had 27-24 Giants. Rob had 27-23 Giants. I had 22-20 Giants. Alex had 24-20 Giants. So, what was closer?
Alex's score prediction was technically closer.
24-20?
Yeah, and the score was 19-16.
I mean, I had 22-20.
I would deem that to be
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I win that. We also had, Rob had Galladay. I had Shepard.
Yeah. Mr. Two Snaps over here. I was like, he's gonna get his first of the Giant. He played two
Alex
snaps.
had Richie James, and sacks wise, Alex had 3 sacks. Rob had 4. I had 5 sacks.
I had 3,
Yes.
and they got 2.
Alex definitely wins that week. So that's good. So that leads us one more thing. We've got our week coming up. So we're going to make our quick weekly picks, and that will be us. So Browns Steelers. Would any of you guess the Browns?
I guess the Browns.
I thought the Browns would win.
Good
Shout
job.
out to Jacob in the chat.
Okay, so Dolphins Bills coming up 1 o'clock Sunday. Who wins?
I'm
Both
taking
Go ahead.
taking the Bills. I don't think the Dolphins are manly enough to take the Bills yet. Wait a year.
Manly enough. So Alex is going the Bills. Luca?
Both teams are riding high. I'm picking Buffalo.
Rob?
Man, Buffalo looks unstoppable right now. But Miami is coming off of a freaking high, and they're 2-0. This is going to be a good game, but I think Buffalo is able to squeak it out.
Yeah, I'm going to go clean sweep Buffalo. Just their defense just looks terrifying. And their offense just looks just unplayable. Okay, Jets Bengals. That's a fun game. The Jets might have a shock in them. Luca, do you think they have got a shock in them?
In my heart, I want the Jets to win, obviously, but I think the Bengals pulled out. The Jets have to prove to me that things are going in the right direction and they are not just riding on a high, that they know they could keep this consistency with winning. So I'm picking the Bengals, but I'm still hoping for my team to win.
Alex?
Taking Cincy.
Rob?
Cincy they're like absolutely just making me so upset because they're my pick to win the whole thing this year. So far, they've been really bad. So I'm gonna pick them again. Hope they get there first. Maybe they go on a little run.
Yeah, I'm going to go clean sweep. If they go 1-3, then they're toast, and I don't think they can afford to go 1-3. Titans Raiders. Oof. Alex.
I'm going to take the Titans. Feel like they're pissed off. Home field advantage.
Look up.
I'm picking the Raiders.
Rob.
Vegas. Give me the Raiders.
I'm going to go to Raiders as well. Again, I think it's just the fact that they really, considering they're meant to be playoff favorites, to go 1-3, I can't see it. Like, if they do, then everyone should be fired with that team. They've got a really good team, so I'm going to go on that. Panthers Saints.
I'm taking New Orleans.
I'm taking the Saints.
I think if the Panthers lose, their fans might actually be happy because they want Matt Rule out of there. Also, I mean, the Saints are they're coming off that loss to Tampa, and Tampa usually never beats them in the regular season. But yeah, the Saints should be able to. They should take this one, New Orleans.
It's funny because I was just reading something on Matt Rule. Like the reporter asked Matt Rule about how Dan Orlovsky said that the Giants kind of knew what they were calling. And then Matt Rule's like, oh, really? How come we rushed for 156 yards or something like that? You
And that
lost
infected the
bro.
game how?
And then they get like most of them on a big chunk, like from McCaffrey.
Yeah, it
was
was
like a 45 yard.
McCaffrey wouldn't have had if McCaffrey, you take that run away 49 yards, he would have had under 4 yards per carry. So by his logic, the defense lost the game.
That guy's a clown, certified clown.
Belichick against the Ravens.
Who's home?
New England.
Yeah, give me the Ravens.
I'm taking Baltimore on a high.
Joe Judge offense.
We're all going Ravens.
Yep.
I'm taking the Patriots.
Wow, Rob going Pats. Okay. Vikings, Lions. This is interesting. Alex.
Vikings, Lions. Vikings, the home team. They're pissed off. Taking the Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings too.
Rob.
Detroit, baby. Give me the Motor City.
I'm going to go Detroit as well. It sounds crazy, but I'm going to go with them. I think Kirk Cousins got his ass handed to him. And I think Amon-Ra St. Brown against that Vikings secondary, I think he can eat. I don't really like the Vikings defense that much. Okay, so the Commandos the Communists against the Eagles.
I'm taking Philly on the road.
Yeah, give me Philly.
Philly in a blowout.
You think that's the game I should take this week, guys?
I've got Eagles taking that too.
Yeah, I
Colts.
know, but I'm saying, go ahead, Donald.
No. See, is this the one that you want to make a bet on?
Yeah, I was planning on because the Eagles are favored by 7 points. You expect the Eagles to cover?
What's the Colts Chiefs line?
Colts Chiefs line is, I just saw it a minute ago. Colts are underdogs by 6.5.
I would take that game.
I would take that too. I think the Chiefs are gonna
obliterate
against the Colts.
Good question is, I bet $5 on the game last week with the Packers. How many should I bet this week? I'm going to go safe and go 5 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd probably go with that Chiefs. The Chiefs should.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
So we're all going to go Chiefs then, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, an ugly matchup that actually makes me a little bit ill in my stomach. Bears, Texans.
Give me the Bears.
Yep.
Who's the home team? The Bears, right? Yeah, that's right. It's a CBS game. So I'm going to go. I'll pick the Texans to shock, actually.
Mm-hmm. Rob.
The 2-1 Bears will head into MetLife Stadium next week to face the 3-0 Giants. So give me the Bears.
It'd be weird that the Bears would be 2-0, even 2-1, despite being one of the worst rosters in the NFL.
I cannot imagine any circumstances that the Bears are going to have a winning record against coming into the Giants game. I've got the Texans. Okay, so Chargers against the Jags.
Give me the Chargers.
Chargers. Wait, hold on.
I'm gonna take the Jags. I don't know if Herbert's healthy.
I was just about to ask. I was just about to ask that.
That's right.
If Justin Herbert's not, and apparently per a Twitter post I read today, Herbert was not practicing with the ones.
Who's their backup?
Chase Daniel.
Fuck it. Chargers upset.
Really?
Yep.
Luca, you're going to go Jags?
Yes.
Rob's going Jags?
I'm taking Jacksonville.
This is a really interesting one. Because if Herbert is playing, then obviously the Chargers. If he's not, then they can still use their other weapons, like use Austin Eckler a lot. Is it enough to beat a Jaguars team, which isn't very good? Yes, I'm going to go Chargers still.
Yes.
Okay.
Jacob here has a comment. He said that Herbert doubtful for Sunday, hasn't practiced all week. So there you go. Thank you very much, Jacob.
Thanks so much, man. Backers have been taking first-team reps, according to Jacob. Thanks, my man. Really good update there. Okay, Cards and Rams.
Cards
Alex.
the home team.
Yeah, Cardinals are home.
Give me the Cardinals then.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna take the Rams actually.
Who you picking,
Well-
Donald? I feel like Donald and I have like some of the same picks again this week. I want to have something different.
I've been kind of going back and forth on this because I really liked the way that the Cardinals came back there, but I also think that it's not really sustainable. You know, all those fourth downs and even and all those incredible escapes that Murray made where he was running 80 yards just to make 8 or whatever. But, I mean, I love Murray. I don't trust what's around him, though, that offensive line. So I'm going to go with the Rams because the Rams will never, ever allow any of that nonsense. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams.
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
All righty. I'd love the Cardinals to win, though. I think they're a fun team to watch. Okay, Bucks and the Packs. That's a Hall of Fame quarterback against Hall of Fame quarterback. Who is going to win the Hall of Fame quarterback battle?
Give me the Bucks.
You forget that both Godwin and Evans are out this week.
Give me
Right,
the
because
Bucks.
Evans is suspended, right?
Yes, Evans was suspended.
Give me the Bucks.
Go
Packers.
Pack, go.
Vlad the Impaler has Packers over the
That's an interesting name.
That's an awesome name. They both are shitty teams with good talent as of now. It's an odd year. Thanks so much, Putin, for coming in the chat. Okay. Look at who are you going with?
I'm taking the Packers.
Raw.
Go Pack, go.
I'm still going to go with the Bucks.
I got a breaking news report. Albert Pujols has hit 700.
Congratulations to the machine.
What a hero. Seahawks against the Falcons.
Falcons for an upset.
Was that Luca?
I'm going to go. Is it Falcons and who?
Seahawks.
Seahawks got their asses murdered last week, so I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
Falcons are so bad. And according to Yahoo, they got the Seahawks as a 1-point favorite. I didn't even know that was possible.
Oh, that game is so horrible.
So give me Seattle. It could end in a tie, if we're being honest.
I mean, that's not far off.
This is the ugliest of uglies. I think the Falcons kind of have to win because Kyle Pitts has not been used at all, and fantasy managers are pissed, right? The dude's elite. I think they're going to make a special effort to get Kyle Pitts involved. They've also got Drake London, who I really like. Great hands. So I think that they've got a little bit more than Seattle do. So I'm going to go with the Falcons, but it's going to be ugly. And, you're going to be retching a little bit. Might even be a couple throwing up in between
Yeah.
quarters. Okay. Broncos, 49ers.
That's such an odd matchup as Alex stated. I think it was a Monday. Jimmy G versus Russell Wilson. I still don't think Russell Wilson looks the same.
Nope.
So I'm actually going 49ers.
Niners.
Yeah, the Niners are going to make his life hell. They're going to say, remember us, and they're going to beat him.
Clean sweep, 49ers for sure. And we finished with the Giants. We've already done that. Well, that will do it for today's show. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat. Really good comments. And thanks once again, Luca and Alex, for coming in
No problem.
late night,
Thank you.
doing it after the Yankee game. Much appreciated. Loving it. Really good. Rob, you made it from a hurricane, worked in a whole day to come back to do this. That is how much the Giants mean to us. So here we go. Are we going to beat the Cowboys? Yes, we freaking are. Let's go blue. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you on the next show.
Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue.